Views and opinions of any of the guests of After Hours AM are not necessarily the views and opinions of After Hours AM, its hosts, its staff, or any of its affiliates.
Welcome to the After Hours program.
Are you ready?
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Of After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Steve Asher.
Hey, Steve, man, we got a great guest tonight. Well, it is the first Wednesday of the month, so we have Armand Egidi with us tonight, and he is world-renowned psychic medium, and we're going to be talking about Armand about all things psychic. I actually want to ask him, while he's on, about some of his famous locations. His take on some of these places that are allegedly haunted. You know, does he pick anything up from all these places? I mean, that'll be all stuff we can ask him. Of course, we'll probably pop a reading in here and there, you know, as we see fit. But, hey, man, you know, Halloween came, it went. By the way, this is After Hours AM, and we all love you. We all survived yet another Halloween. I just want to throw that out there. The clown purge did not happen.
No, did not.
Did you hear that story?
Wow. Yeah, I heard the build up, and I was like, okay. There was actually a town here. Now, this I cannot exactly confirm or deny it, but this is a story I heard. We have a town called Paducah, Kentucky.
Sure.
Anyway,
gotta love it.
I think it's from like Chief Paducah.
Ah, yes.
It's like old Indian name.
Well, nothing wrong with that. Chief Paducah.
We took the land, but we kept the name.
Well, why not? You know, we gotta honor him somehow.
That's it. So, anyway. Someone had told me, says, well, look, you know, there will be no clowns. And I said, well, I mean, you can't say that. She says, no, but there will be not any clowns. If you see clowns, that's right. I'm talking like grown-up clowns, not little kid clowns, but people in clown outfits. They will be pulled over. They will be spoken to and possibly detained.
They will be spoken to. They will have a gruff talking to.
Man, yeah, give them the boot, medium style. So we're going to have like all these brown shirts jerking clowns out. I mean, if you're walking around screwing with people, I can see that. But now you got like these guys. It's just like, what if I come out? You know, what if God forbid a ginger comes out with a receding hairline? You know,
with a big red nose, has the cold.
He's had a head coat.
Sure.
You know, he's got some napkin stuffed into his wrist, so it looks like the puffy sleeves. And he's like, that's you. Boom. He's
well, no. The reason why I bring that up is allegedly there was supposed to be a clown purge on Sunday, meaning the clowns were going to attack us, you know, and purge us. And I was thinking to myself, well, bring them on, you know. All right, sounds like a good time to me. I'll get the old tree stand out, and I'll be waiting. But no clowns ever did come. But all over the nation, though, I do hear that they were, like you were saying, banning clowns from any kind of festivities.
No, we see it didn't happen here. We had one clown. Actually, it was like kind of a. He was a little spooky looking, but it was like a jester outfit, and he had a little jester wand.
Now, would that be considered a clown?
Okay, but he wasn't, you know, walking super weird and, you know, bloodied out. He just kind of rolled up, and I was like, hey, buddy, I said, you really should smile more, you know. And he just kind of cocked his head.
Grin.
Said, get some candy, buddy.
Yeah. Come be with one of us. Have fun with it. Be one of us. Come on.
We did have a gorilla.
You did have a gorilla. Oh,
yes. Well, I was, as you saw in some of the pictures, I was made up in my little gear, and
I saw that.
I'm a Halloween nut, man. I'm a Halloween nut.
You are. You're Mr. Halloween, aren't you?
It's what it's about. That was the holiday. That's when everybody who's weird and quirky and odd and off-center can just walk around and go, here I am.
Here I am in all my quirky glory.
That's it.
Love me.
So what do you think I told the gorilla?
Have a banana?
You know what? I told him, said, I'm sorry, we have no bananas today, but have some candy. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, the gorilla of my dreams.
Oh, my God.
Oh, it was hokey. It was hokey.
No, I took my kids trick-or-treating, and of course, when you have real little kids, you know, the trick-or-treating just isn't fun for them yet. You know,
it's arduous. It can be dangerous, you know, a bunch of people milling through like little sidewalks.
Oh, yeah. No, we took our kids, and unfortunately here we had rain, like a soaking rain. And so, of course, you know, it's number one, they're in costumes that are way too long for them and they want to step on them. Number two, you're dealing with the rain. Number three, you're dealing with the crowds. I did take them to a Halloween party, and evidently everybody and their mother and their brother and their sisters decided to attend this party. And oh my God, it was so packed. It was a room maybe the size of an average gas station. All right, and so it was just not a very big venue. And it just wasn't any fun, but, you know, that is the season, though. Everyone is really looking forward to this Halloween. I had a lot of fun. Aside from that, I had a lot of fun with Halloween, but I cannot wait till the kids are a little older so they can have fun with me.
Right. Well, that's the thing, because right now, what you're doing right now is you're priming them. You're priming them for those experiences. Because I know a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to take my little guy out. Which, you know,
you got to take him.
A little kid. I mean, I've seen people pushing little 6-month-olds.
Oh,
like
heck yeah.
Kid, the pumpkin onesie or whatever. But yeah, you kind of got to get them used to the vibe. So otherwise it's going to be like pulling out some Amish kid and throwing them in the middle of the street at 8 or 9 years old. They're not going to be able to hold it together.
Well, do you do the trick-or-treating thing? I mean, do you get out and trick-or-treat?
You know, we haven't done all the family trick-or-treating in a couple years. You got to remember, all my girls are in marching band, and usually they have competitions. Well, this year, the way it fell, they didn't have a competition. So we had some of the kids do some trick-or-treating, but for the most part, it was home-based. And it was the first time I really was able to do candy to the extent I wanted to. And
yeah.
So that's where we had the fog machine, and we had all the the laser lights, boom, and all that stuff, and it was fun. You know, I had my little candelabra set everywhere. And
Heck yeah. But did you ever, at all during the Halloween season, did you fit in a paranormal investigation?
You know, I had actually looked into a place, other than what we talked about off air about possibly touring a place I'd been at before. Well, that's still pending, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But there's a few little oddball places. I did go through a few small areas. I was surprised. I would have thought that there might have been a little bit more going on.
Yeah.
Which that's something I'm curious to ask him as well. Is that you always hear that wise tale? Well, the veil is always thinnest, and
it's always thinnest during Halloween.
Well, I mean, listen to this. Okay, the Day of the Dead and all that.
Yeah, I get it all. Yeah, I get it, man.
But like, okay, say if you have Christmas. What about Arbor Day?
Yes. What about 4th of July?
Yeah, think about that. What about like the dates of certain, like say if you're in Gettysburg?
How about Pearl Harbor? I mean, you're right. You're absolutely correct. I mean, why does that be Halloween? That it's the veil is the thinnest.
I don't know. I think part of it, the veil is the thinnest because, again, sort of a nod back to Art Bell. You get the collective unconscious, and everyone's focusing on that moment, and the collective thoughts of all the people's minds are geared on kind of, well, not so much spiritual contact, but things ghostly, and I think it sort of, again, charges the air, as it were.
No, that is true. Now, did you ever scare kids for candy when you were a kid? I did. Oh, yeah, man. I was all about that. I was like Negan. I would show up.
Worst.
Give me half of your candy.
Eeny, meeny,
miny, mo.
Now, not real bad. I was the youngest. I was always getting the crap beat out of me. So I was, trying to be a little bit more the protectors of the group. But
gotcha.
But don't get me wrong. I wasn't an idiot. I'd go, hey guys, you stay with me now. We understand.
Yeah.
Any zag nuts, paydays, I get at least 3 from the bag. or the rest.
So
set you loose to the wolves.
it was paper protection, is what it was.
Was I a mobster?
You were doing a young man's racketeering, is what you were doing.
Nice.
It was a racket. That is what you're on. You want protection. You want protection from the ghosts. You want protection from the goblins. You're gonna have to come talk to Steve, man. But I do require heavy payment. That's right. I need half of your Reese's. And you little fellow over there, I don't forget that. Don't pretend like I don't see a troll. I got half of your Baby Ruths. That's just the way that one rolls. Now, if you do that, I'll protect you. And then you run away as soon as you get them candy, of course, and they're
there's
themselves.
no witnesses.
No witnesses at all.
That's a nice pumpkin there, Polly Pocket. Shame if something happened to it.
Yeah, hello, kitty. Come on over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Halloween, man. I love Halloween. Especially the TV show stuff. You know, the only time of the year where they have every Friday the 13th back to back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing is that it bugs because I'm like, that's the thing. You don't ever get it. So it's like, why can't this be all the time?
Yeah.
But then I guess maybe if it is, it's just like, remember when Saturday morning cartoons were just the bomb?
Oh, heck yeah, man. Now they suck.
Well,
now they're nowhere to be found.
Ran them every dang day so hard for X amount of years, they're kind of out of ideas. And I think it took the novelty from it.
Well, you know, I remember getting up in the morning, grabbing the bowl of cereal, parking my butt in front of the TV, and a color TV at that time, not high def or any of this cool stuff, and it had rabbit ears, and the foil on it and the whole thing, and watching Bugs Bunny. Okay, I'm talking violent Bugs Bunny. I'm talking a guy with a gun after a rabbit. Now they would go, oh my God, that's so violent.
Oh, dude, yeah, like the Tom and Jerry stuff. And
I know.
Something that chops up the cat's tail.
I know, right? I know. They never show that now. They would never show that now. That's too bad, though. It really is.
It's a different world. But you know what? It's like our violence was on television, and that was our release. Now that's all gone, and now the violence is outside.
That's right. It's visiting us now. Mwah.
Deep.
No, I don't know, man. I mean, as far as the violence outside, I don't think it's any more violent. I think it's, I think it's always been this level. We're just seeing it more. More of an instant news media going constantly. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that, but I mean, you got to remember though too. Like you said, you remember, 70s, 80s kids, man, running around and doing all this, and obviously, like you're talking about, violence always existed. You could go back to guys like Albert Fish and all that, but it just seems like that kids are desensitized to real stuff going on, but like it's on television, people lose their crap.
They lose their ever loving mind. Oh my God! Did you just look at The Walking Dead? Did you watch that episode?
Exactly what I was going to ask you. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
He beat the living tar out of two of them, and they showed it in graphic detail. I mean, we covered that on After Hours AM on Thursday, and we were kind of talking about how maybe they'd gone over the top, or maybe we're just a bunch of wimps.
No, I think, and don't get me wrong, Glenn was my boy. Glenn was my dude. But if you're going to go anywhere near the comic, which don't get me wrong, I'll be the guy to say it. Daryl's got to go. Come on, man. Daryl's got to go. He's becoming this mythical Superman-ish character. Remember when Superman got to the point he was totally untouchable, nothing could hurt him?
Yes.
He's basically like a demigod. He's like something gets so. What did they say? What was it on Spider-Man? It says everybody loves a hero.
Yes.
But everybody loves to see the hero fall.
That is true. The thing of it is Daryl has the quote unquote sex appeal, but man, I can dig you up a bunch of rednecks that look just like him.
Oh, he's gonna stink, bro.
I mean, come on. I can get you a bunch of greasy guys. Don't worry. Well, give me 10 minutes. Give me, you know what? Give me a 12-pack of Miller Lite and 10 minutes, and I can dig you up a hillbilly. Not a problem.
Point me toward NASCAR supplies.
Exactly.
Or a smoke shop, and I will find you 3 dudes that look just like them.
I know, I was told the other day,
if Daryl dies, we riot.
Well, gosh darn it, you should be rioting over bigger things.
Right. Yeah. Don't worry about kids not getting educated. Or
Yeah,
people
exactly.
starving in the streets. God forbid something happens to Daryl.
And
I
you're
want to see
worried about
Daryl taken out in a clown apocalypse.
I want to see nasty, foamy at the mouth, zombie clowns come in and just go. And while they're honking their horns, or better yet, they show up in a clown car.
Great.
And he's just totally dismayed. Exactly.
Oh,
And they start juggling first to get his attention.
like juggling hands and feet. Let me ask you this. Let's just do the math. Okay, there's X amount of circuses and stuff, because every year state fairs are inundated with all these different people riding through in little caravans. Okay, I have never seen one freaking zombie clown, one zombie sword swallower, one zombie
I have not.
Siamese twin.
You're absolutely
Nothing.
correct. I haven't seen not one circus folk during the whole show. I mean, you would think that. Okay, think about this. Think of all the zoos around the nation. Okay,
Right.
and there's no one left to take care of these zoos, or somehow because of the lack of being able to take care of them, they escape by some because
they're going to escape.
I mean,
just the
how
laws of averages.
another thing
Some
that
escape.
bothers me about the show, as long as we're talking about the show, is how do they still have electricity?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know well enough. If you take an alternator and you turn it backwards and you come out of where the energy is supposed to go into it, you can create a 12-volt current. I mean, I'm not
Sure.
even a car guy, and I got that under control.
Yeah.
And you do enough. You have.
But their homes, they still have hot water and they still have electricity. It seems like they have all the amenities of
Yes.
modern society, right?
Right.
And
Right.
we were supposed to go through this horrible apocalypse, but yet there's the guys looking great. I mean, by now you would think their clothes would be just tattered. I mean, where'd they get the washing machine from?
Right. No, this is the thing. You would have everybody. Half the guys would look like Duck Dynasty guys with funky beards.
Oh yeah, by now it would look like they're
All the
part of the Amish mafia.
Well, you got all these like that the little Latino girl that was running with Abraham, right?
Mm.
Little short shorts, real
Yeah,
smooth legs.
yeah.
She'd look like Chewbacca. Come on now.
By now, yeah, she would not look that good anymore. She would look pretty bad. She would look like Shaft, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, oh, you made me laugh. No, but the thing is too is that
Shut your mouth. No.
quit. No, what I'm saying though is for realsies, okay, as the
Yeah.
kids would like to say, for realsies. Now,
For
the kids still say
realsies.
that.
I don't know if the kids say it or not for realsies, but we will for the sake of this this conversation.
I'm bringing for realsies back.
For real, you know what? We're
Everybody-
bringing it back. Gosh darn it! Is now another. It's a relevant term again. For realsies.
Right. I want everyone to go to Twitter right now. Hashtag for realsies.
Hashtag.
AfterHoursAM.com. Okay.
There you go.
We need to start that. We need to start trending more.
Trending. We got
Okay.
to work on trending. But quite honestly, getting back to the Walking Dead and their abundance of amenities in life that you would have thought they would have lost. How come they're all fat?
I don't know.
For what they are. I mean, you would think by now. I mean, we're 7 years into this apocalypse, evidently.
Right.
And why is Judith not walking yet? If we're 7 years into it, come on, that kid should be going through college by now.
Maybe she's got like a thyroid issue. Well, let me ask you this though. All right, what did you think about the pigs and them feeding the walkers to the pigs? And
Wow, I thought that was strange. Are they trying to infect others?
I think that they're. Well, I've heard people say, "Well, everyone already has the virus in them; it ain't gonna hurt them." I said, "Tell you what, botulism will."
That's right. Botulism kills every time.
Right. So you won't have to worry about being a zombie. Slowly or starve people.
No. Yeah, that show. Just. I mean, I like it, but I hate it all at the same time.
Let me ask you this: slightly different vibe, same
Sure.
sort of area, but totally different feel. Like Z Nation. What's your feelings on Z Nation?
I like that. I think it's fun. I think it's there's a lot of comedy to be had in that movie or in that show rather.
It has that lean of it's not quite like an Evil Dead.
No,
but it's definitely got.
Yeah, man, it's something to it.
Well, as dopey as it is, because I guarantee I'll be one of two things. I'll either be dead, cut my finger on like an old rusty can or something, or I'll survive long enough to be like, I don't know, what was a guy like Lord Humongous or something, but I won't be muscled up. I would be like a quirky, weird, villainous guy doing bad puns.
Well, yeah, exactly. Why not? Why not be that guy going, yeah, you know what? Sure is dead around here.
Have a laughing back.
or say, kids, I'm the laughing clown.
I just can't stop laughing. Killing people.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I watched it the other week. I've been watching The Walking Dead now. I can't keep my eyes off of it. Evidently, I'm addicted for whatever reason. I was really hoping.
Keep an eye out for it.
Just keep an eye out for it. I wonder if Maggie's baby's gonna have Glenn's eyes.
I don't know, like in his pocket.
Oh. Bet you his favorite restaurant's Popeyes.
It might be.
Oh my God!
I wonder if that kid's ever going to try like the beef eyeball.
Oh my God! You know, yes. Let's get to that story. Off air, we were talking about the weirdest places that we'd eaten, and when I was in Texas, down by San Antonio, there was what was it called? The Real Man Steakhouse. I can't remember what they called this many years ago. And to
Only
get
go to a place called The Real Man.
I know the real. You know you're in for. You know you're really in for a good time when it's The Real Man Steakhouse. So there I am, and I think I'm near San Antonio, Texas. And the challenge was if you could eat, I think it was a raw beef eyeball, you could get your meal for free.
Now, was it room temperature? Was it?
Oh, it was sitting around in some jar somewhere. It wasn't like it was like chilled or frozen or anything. And so, of course,
goopy inside. But again, I was say, have it almost like pickled. It would have that weird outer skin.
Well, it would.
Firm,
I think the best thing to do in that, first I was given some advice is, try to chew as little as you can, because I was dumb enough to walk in there and go, yeah, you guys think you're tough? I got this. Give me that eyeball. It's looking at me and everything. So I grabbed the eyeball and examine it. It's looking at me, and I'm looking at it. Our eyes met. And I put it in my mouth. I put the eyeball in my mouth, and I chewed it.
No.
I chewed it, and see, what I wasn't anticipating when I chewed it was, I don't realize this is grossing everybody out that's listening to the show, and I do apologize, because this is not the normal after hours AM you're used to. They're like, where's the ghosts? Give me the ghosts. I don't want to hear about the eyeballs anymore. When you chew the eyeball, it makes a popping noise.
Yeah, what's that gum? Remember, it used to be back in the day, and it had like just a little bit of freshener in it, and you pop it.
Fresh bursts or whatever. Yeah, remember Pop Rocks? It was kind of like eating a Pop Rock.
No,
when you chewed it.
But beef Pop Rocks.
Yeah, and it just shot right. It was like eating a grape too hard.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We eat gizzards and stuff here. We eat chicken hearts here.
Sure, that's your thing.
You can get it down at the market. It's just one of the products, and they'll have it off to themselves. You can get chicken livers, you can get chicken hearts, chicken gizzards. That's not a problem. So I'm used to chewy kind of stuff like that.
Have you ever eaten a tongue, like a beef tongue?
No, I've eaten a lot of pork brains growing up.
Really? Oh.
My old man was into that. He was always like, "Here, son," he says, "Look here." He said, "You'd be as smart as a pig." I said, "They can't be too smart, Dad. They're in this can."
Yeah, they're dead. I mean, how smart are they? Fear factor has nothing on us growing up.
No. Well, see, that's the thing. Everyone's eating this and that, and they're growing. Man, do you know how long and how much time and cultivation of the grounds, unless you just went onto a farm, but they would be eating grubs, man. They would be eating grubs, leaves, bark.
Sure. But anyhow, getting back to my story, I'm eating this eyeball, and it's big.
Sorry.
A beef eyeball is about as big as, remember those great big jawbreakers you could get? I mean, the ones that could barely fit in your mouth.
Are they that big? I figured
they're big.
As, like this red globe grapes at Christmas.
They're big.
Bigger than that?
Yeah, they're big. They're big.
No
right?
way.
So I was not anticipating the size. They look small in the head of the cow, but man, when they're on that plate, they're not small at all. It makes you think twice. Like, do I? And the rule was you couldn't cut it. You couldn't cut it up. You had to just pop it in and start chewing. And you couldn't throw up. You couldn't spit it out. You had to eat it.
Now, did you put hot sauce or anything?
No, they wouldn't let you. Yes. They wouldn't let me. Maybe they're afraid it was going to burn the eye.
Well, let me ask you this. See, now, did you go, okay, no, this looks slightly odd-shaped. No,
did I inspect it? Are you asking if I inspected it first?
Right.
Give
me the one with the cat.
Yeah, well, it did have a brown eye. I did look into it, gazed lovingly into its eye. Right. Getting to know it a little bit because eyes are windows to the soul after all. And I want to say this is a gentle cow.
Man, what a way to go! Not only have you been like searching for steaks and this and that, and then it's like, well, hey, at least there'll be some peace. Oh my God, they're chewing my eyeball!
They're chewing me up. I can see the inside of his mouth. No, it was a horrible experience, and I will never do it again. And I highly recommend you do.
No, yeah, that's not a worry.
Give it a try. You never know. You never know until you have that eyeball in your mouth.
Don't get me wrong. There's like when we were in Thailand and stuff, you could get like fish heads and for stew, and you could get fish eyeballs, and you could get.
Yeah, but the Orient is a whole different joint, man. They got street meat.
Oh yeah, I'm down with that.
They got guys with bicycles out front with meat on a stick. Come on, eat. It's last night's rat catch.
I guarantee I've either eaten rat or street dog or
cat.
Street child, I don't know, but it was very good.
No, you ate cat. Oh yes,
honestly, I don't want to know that because I would probably take a few out. I know that sounds like a horrible thing to say, but
you're not a cat guy, Steve. Are you a cat guy or not?
I'm sort of on the fence with them. Cats when they're small are cuter, but especially if you have especially these kids because they jump up on everything, or if you put something on the table, you hear ting and it's jumping up trying to eat your soup or something. No, I don't like that.
Yes, I have 2 cats.
How do you keep them off the table? You keep the little spritz bottle.
Well, they don't get up on our table. I don't know why. My wife loves these cats. I mean, she loves these cats, right? And of course, they're not worth anything because they don't exactly, they don't really contribute to society in that way, like as in, any kind of. Real meaningful way. You know what I mean? But, it is what it is. It is what it is. But, Steve. Hey, Steve, did you ever... You're not a cat guy.
No. I said, did you hear me? Because I was rattling and then I was like, well, where did Joel go?
I have no idea where I went there. I went bloop, and there you were gone. It was strange. It's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy to stop us from doing mediocre radio.
It's a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy to stop us. I tell you, no. Cats are all right with me. I mean,
no, cats are groovy, man. I mean, I don't have any issue. I know some people like it, especially in rural places. They just friggin' hate them, which is nuts. They'll catch mice, they'll catch snakes, all this and that. And dogs are, unless you're a hunting guy, they just kind of poop in the yard and lay at your feet.
Well, you know what they say, though? The difference between a good cat and a bad cat is the right sauce. Oh, I know. I went there. I did. I know, but I have eaten questionable things. I mean, I got nothing on Andrew Zimmerman from the Travel Channel. That guy. Now that guy.
I like Andy. Andy.
I do too. He's right here in Minnesota. And,
is it right? Well, see what? The only thing I don't like it is suddenly it's that's the only thing I hate about it. All these like different shows and travel shows and things. Everything you start out like you, right? But then he was always kind of a beefy, a thick guy. He wasn't just slobbering over fat, but he was just kind of a thick body dude.
Yeah.
He starts slimming down. And he's like this. I'm like, come on, Andy.
Come on, Andy. What are you doing to yourself?
Where's the Andrew that we love?
We got to be one of us. You got to be a jolly fat man like us. Come on.
You got to represent.
What are you doing to yourself? You're already bald. Grow goatee.
That's it. Or get a monocle.
No, you don't see enough of those around.
Really not.
You don't see enough monocles.
No.
You don't see it. The last one I saw rocking one of those is the Count from Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3. Remember him? He was a cool cat, man.
Of course.
He was a cool cat. But on that note, we got to go break. We come back. We got Armand Egidi joining us. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hopefully not any more cat jokes right after this.
See if you can catch the drift on this one.
too much lust, can you implode, overload? I'm off the chart when you're in my heart. Can you self-combust from too much lust?
It's your ideas, work, and creativity that make it your yard. At Ace, we're here to help with hoses and sprinklers to nurture growth, gardening tools for the shape of good things to come, even the right fertilizer and bug killers to make the grass a little greener. You'll find it all now at Ace, your place, with everything you need for your yard, plus helpful advice, almost like we're right there. Ace,
the helpful place.
Anavar Media LCC is a dedicated team of professionals committed to helping business development scale and protect their websites, mobile applications, enterprise software solutions in the Northeast Ohio area. Locally owned since 2012, our client-centered values truly sets Anavar apart. Contact us today to learn how you can get 25% off your first project. Call them at 234-380-4852. Again, that's 234-380-4852, or visit them at www.anavar.com. Again, that's www.anavar.com.
Are you hungry? Hungry as a gremlin? Here's gremlin cereal.
Gremlins, gremlins, bite after bite. What a tasty way to satisfy a gremlin appetite.
Gremlins is a deliciously sweet, crunchy cereal that satisfies the hungry little gremlin that's in all of us.
Gremlins, gremlins, bite after bite. What a tasty way to satisfy a gremlin appetite.
Gremlin cereal is part of this complete breakfast.
Gremlin, yum yum.
You're listening to After Hours AM, the best in alternative talk radio. If you got a question for our guest tonight, email that to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Feeling social? Join the After Hours AM, America's Most Haunted group on Facebook. The coolest Facebook group anywhere.
You're dead! I saw you die! I was faking. I used ninja focus to slow my heart rate down. What are you doing? I'm burying you. I'm alive! I'm alive! You're waking the neighbors! No. Shut up! No! Now I'm gonna play your drum set.
And welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. And I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Steve Asher.
Hey, Steve, man. We have, of course, it is the first Wednesday of the month, and it's our honor and privilege to have Armand Egidi on again with us. Armand is, he's a good friend of ours, and plus he's extremely skilled. I mean, my gosh, I guess extremely skilled really doesn't do him justice. He's one of the best psychic mediums I've ever met. And he's here again, and he has every month, first day every month, and we're going to talk to Armand. And Armand, I know you got a lot of new cool things going on, and we kind of talked a little bit about it off air. What's going on? You're always doing something.
Well, now what's starting to happen is the travel month is coming up. December, I guess I decided to be a travel month, and everything is just about done with the planning and the scheduling and all of that for Houston, Los Angeles, and West Palm Beach, Florida. So I'll be traveling 3 separate times during that 1 month period.
Wow, you're a busy guy, man. Globe trotting everywhere.
Yeah.
Did you ever get just exhausted? Like you're like, well, no more. No
I'm going to
more.
tell you, the only time I get kind of exhausted is if I'm doing in one trip, if I'm doing different time zones. Okay. Like one time I had done Houston, then I had done L.A., and then I went to Alaska all in one trip. And Alaska, some people might not know, but is in another hour further than L.A.
Wow.
So I would wake up and I'd go, okay, which time zone am I in and where am I?
They'd wake you up and go, okay, Armand, here is a wristwatch, live by it because this is where you are.
It sounds almost like one of those Spinal Tap moments where it's like, hey, Cleveland, Milwaukee, where am I at? L.A., hey, L.A., what's going on?
That's what it feels like sometimes, though. And I just look at the clock, I'm like, that's nice. where am I?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. No, I've been there. Oh, it's horrible.
And I don't drink, mind you, so that's not the issue, you know.
That's the problem. So you need to drink.
You're telling them to take a sip of old granddad's cough syrup there? Is that what you're telling them? Okay, Armand, here you go. Here's a bottle of Jack Daniels and some Dramamine. Good luck. So did you have a good Halloween?
I had a great Halloween.
Good.
It was excellent. Spent it with my son and going trick-or-treating with him. We had a great time. I was Bat Dad and he was Bat Son.
Really? Very, very cool. Very cool. Now, you went trick-or-treating. How'd you do? You did real well? You got a lot of candy, that whole thing?
We got a lot of loot, and I taught him how to separate it and what everything is worth.
Yes. Everything has a value because Steve taught us during the first segment that he has a racketeering program.
No,
that if you pay him, what? Oh, you had.
I'm not part of that life.
Oh,
now.
not anymore. Okay, you're out. They would have to give him half their candy in exchange for protecting them against the ruffians that might be about on Halloween. He was one of them.
Steve's got to eat too.
That is true. That is true. No, I'm glad you had a great Halloween. Over on this end, we had also had a great Halloween. And I got to ask you though, and I know we don't talk political on the show, and we're not going to get into that. But I got to ask you: is the country going to heal after the election, and we're going to come back together as one people?
Well, I'll tell you, if people don't know what a light worker is a medium, a psychic, a Reiki worker. I can go on tarot card reader,
Sure.
all that. So all of the light workers, we were talking about, a bunch of us had gotten together, and we were talking about our feelings on this. And there's just, to most of us, there's a feeling in the air that's there of, and I think probably for most people, of uncertainty of what's going to happen afterwards. A lot of people that are my colleagues, if you will, are taking a look at this and going, they feel something negative is going to be on the other side of this.
Yeah, I would agree. It's just there is that feel to it, and I know we're only a few days out from Election Day, but it's the nastiest race as far as attacking each other's character that I can't remember a nastier one.
Well, it's such a division, I mean, it's not even a thing where, like I said, you have a cluster of people, and maybe it's the more people than maybe I realize, but a lot of people are just like, okay, this is my candidate. They are infallible. Anything you say that maybe is negative against them is a lie, and your person is the devil. And it's just like, well, first of all, neither one are mine. I look at their character and try to judge them by what they're doing and what I think that they can do for the country. But you've got people that are kind of drinking the Kool-Aid to the degree that you can't divide like that because you get such a division. I'm not saying you can't come back together, but it's going to be one of these things you're going to have, all the set downs in Congress. You're going to have all the stalemates, all the, government shutdowns again and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
That's what I'm afraid is going to happen. I'm not thinking we're going to have riots in the streets over it, but just from my personal side, it's sort of got that kind of smell to it.
Now, right, wrong, or indifferent, and this is no lie, I swear on everything that is good. My mom said to me back in the mid to late 80s, she sat me down, she said, I want to tell you something. She goes, it's going to get very dark in this world at one point. And she said, there's a person, she didn't say male or female, she said there's a person wrapped in green, and it's going to feel like that's going to be that will save the day. She said, that's not the one to go with. It's the other one, she said. Now, ever since that time, and I don't know if it has to do with this election or not, but ever since she told me that, I've been like, what is she talking about?
Yeah.
What is happening? Does she mean wrapped in green meaning Trump? Does she mean wrapped in green meaning Hillary? Does she, but I can't help but to think, like, this is the country or the world's or what have you's dark time, and I'm looking at it going, I wonder if this is what she meant, and I just looked at her like a teenager, just looking at her and going like, well, okay, that's nice, but I'll never forget her saying that to me, and I just looked, I was like, huh, okay.
Well, Armand, I think the thing that really scares me the most is, are we going to, because of the upheaval in our country, are we going to not have attacks from ourselves, but are there going to be countries intervening like another 9/11, taking advantage of our upheaval at the moment? The closer we inch to Election Day.
The way that it feels like is that there's so much that has been, number one, unearthed. There is good, bad, or indifferent. There's so much that has been unearthed. And there are people that are now, the fear is coming up. The what if is coming up. And I saw on the news today, other countries, Iran and other countries are making comments about the U.S. And there you go. I forgot what the comment was about, well, it's all true what we thought, or, whatever the quote was. So I can't help but to think that we're on the world stage, and I can also not help but to think that it doesn't look good. We're not. It's kind of like a loud kid in a car, and people are looking over, going, "What's going on over there?" Mm-hmm. So I can't help but to think that there is this upheaval, and we're not. I don't think being looked upon too favorably. It's kind of, in one way, embarrassing. In one way.
Sure. I would imagine during your readings, I'm sure there's people that ask you, "Hey, Armand, who's going to win the election?" I'm sure that people have asked that in readings.
It's funny because nobody has really asked that. I find quite the opposite, that people are very, very much afraid to talk about politics. I don't know if it's just around me or what have you, but in the readings I'm not hearing that. People haven't. One person, I think, on Facebook asked me, but other than that, people have kept their distance from that.
Yeah.
Because right now, look at all the new stuff coming out with the new emails, and
I know
so
it's
just
crazy.
Wobbling. It's like wobbling forward, and it's it's really hard, because also I think the future is always very hard to predict, and I'm not copping out on it. It's the truth, because there's always there's free will and there's change that happens as you move forward.
Well, are either of them? I mean, I'm very apolitical. I don't have a horse in the race because I don't like either one of them, to be honest with you.
Sure.
Do either one of them, are they, let me reword that. Are either one of them who they seem to be?
I think when you're doing a political show and a political race, and when you're doing something of this caliber, I don't think anybody can help but to put on what they want to give the people. And I think everyone does that when they're going toward political office. I mean, look at the standing joke that everyone makes, like all the promises, and then they get into office and nothing ever happens with that. So with each presidency, there are promises that come out of what I'm going to do and this, that, and the other thing that doesn't materialize.
Yes.
Not in all cases, but so I can't, using that as a prime example, I can't help but to think that, this might not be any different in a way, because they're trying to show their best side, and so they're trying to impress their party and the people of the country.
Very well said, man. I hate to go political with you, but it's kind of been on everyone's mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Now that we're kind of inching closer, and I've watched, people, especially in social media, just attack each other. For who they like or they don't like, or post this or post that. And then, of course, you read the arguments and fighting, and they're just like Steve said, they're just so rabid behind their candidate that it's almost as if it's like, well, don't bother me with the facts because my mind's made up. No matter what you tell me, I'm still on this boat. And I'm not moving.
Well, something I was wondering is this. Basically, we've been doing the two political parties. I mean, you have your independents, but for pretty much a two-party system for so long. Do you think maybe this is one of the things that makes people go, you know what, this is such kind of a cluster expletive, we're going to have to retool this? I mean, do you think this is one of those, like, the pangs before change, or do you think it's just sort of a death knell? I would hate to think about that that this would be kind of the last battle cry and all that. But do you think is it calling for change, and is it going to be one of the things that facilitates it, or do you think it's just symptomatic of the problem?
I think it's certainly showing, the public and everyone is seeing kind of I don't want to use the word breakdown of the system, but seeing it's warbling, that it's shaking at its very seams of where it held itself all together. I can't help but to think that, as we move forward, that very, what you're bringing up will be called into question as to what is this party all about, or both parties, and is there bipartisanship, and which, seems to be collapsing a little bit on both sides of the spectrum. Yeah. I've walked into, I have to say that I was in Texas, and this is anywhere I go, really, actually. And people, they bring up the election, or they'll say something, and they'll say something derogatory toward either candidate. Oh, that, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Or that, da, 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 whatever. Yeah. And I just remain quiet and don't go in either direction, and I just nod my head because, I'm not there in that reading for them to kind of embellish on what their thoughts are on that. And I just let that, die off, if you will. Yeah. And I get down to business.
Oh, heck yeah. If you were, to dive into that political discussion between two rabid people that are on different spectrums, whether it's Democrat and Democrat and Republican, man, that is, you got to be careful. The fangs come out. And I think the thing of it is a lot of people forget we're all still Americans no matter who wins.
Absolutely.
We're all still together and united. Don't let this moment of divisiveness define us.
Well, exactly. And, I remember in your message to me yesterday, you were talking about the veil getting thinner or thicker, and you were talking about the, Halloween holiday, and yep. I not sure if you had mentioned the political race at all. But, the veil, for those who don't know, is the separation between the other side, if you will, heaven, and this side of the spectrum, if you will, on the earthly plane. And that veil gets thinner as enlightenment happens, where people are able to feel that connection with that spirituality or that other side or with their religion or whatever it is that brings them closer to that quote-unquote God. It's times like this when there is this upheaval in the political race, or even throughout the whole planet, not just in politics, but you look at ISIL and you look at all of the different areas in this world that are upheaving. This, I don't want to say makes the veil thicker, but in a lot of ways it kind of darkens that and prevents that veil from us being able to see that other side. Now, every time there's crisis or there's something that brings anybody to their knees, sometimes there is then that enlightenment afterwards because people are trying to search for answers and some level of guidance through this. So even though I say that the veil might be getting thicker in that sense, in some ways it could be getting thinner as people look toward spirituality or their God in order to explain.
Well, it just seems to be such a dark time right now. Worldwide, you flip on the news, all you hear is negative, negative, negative. I want to hope that we're going to rebound and we're going to start shifting to the positive again. And I know that that's, maybe a pie in the sky attitude. Maybe we never will. Since 9/11, everything has changed. It's almost like it's gotten this continual darkness.
Here, let's put it this way. You remember when you were over a friend's house when you were a kid and you're eating dinner, and somehow the parents, either before or during dinner, of your friend's parents have a fight. Yep. And after that, you look at the parents differently. There's like an experience you've had where it's a bad taste in your mouth, and it's this level of what I looked upon as being so iconic. Hey, they are great mom and dad to my friend, and you look upon it a little bit different. You kind of look over at them, and there's always that fear that it will happen again.
Yeah.
So I think when we look at the country and we're turning on the TV and all this negativity is happening, I think we are so used to it happening that now there is this perpetualness of doing it. It's if it bleeds, it reads. If it, it sells. All of that. The hype is what sells. The pandemonium. The the shootings. The deaths. And it's not really the other end of the spectrum, unfortunately.
Now, what's the most common question? I've never asked you this, and we've interviewed you several times. What's the most common question or reading people have for you? Is it still love life? Is it money? Or is it uncertainty in the world? What's going on?
Well, the most common, okay, if you're looking at like a medium as a medium, when I read them about the people that have passed, it's more along the lines of, are they okay?
Mm-hmm.
Did they make it? How are they feeling? To make that connection with them. If we talk about present, future, a lot of people take a look at how secure they will be in job, money, and love life. Those three things, and in that order, I might add, they want to know about.
So love life is last.
Love life is usually last because they want to know that their success is secure, their money is there, and then they take a look at that. It's usually the last item, and sometimes it's not even mentioned. It's more along the lines of their socioeconomics and their job.
So, was there ever a time where love was first, that it kind of took you for a shock when money started becoming the number one question? Or, I mean, have you seen a shift?
It's funny that you say that. There has been a shift, and I would say about 4 years ago, it was maybe 3-4 years ago, it was about, some of the money, but a little bit of the love life that's there. And I think in recent years, people are feeling a little bit more unsettled and want to know that they're secure. And back then, it was more so, my husband or wife passed away. Are they okay with me finding another partner? Are they okay with that? That's a very, very common question when somebody is younger and want to move on with a love life or meeting somebody.
Yeah, because actually we have an email sitting in the inbox with that very question. We'll get to that. Of course, at the top of next hour, you're going to have a chance to have a reading, a mini reading. We're going to keep a short, very mini reading with Armand, of course, and you'll have a chance to ask maybe one, maybe two questions if they're really quick about what's going on in your own life. But that seems to be the theme. I know I've heard that from several people just talking to me casually that, I'd really worry about money more than I do love. For me, anyway, personally, that's the other way around. I worry more about my family's happiness and love and things like that before I do about money, because money gets spent. Money's easy come, easy go.
It's true. I think that the one thing people are worrying about in this day of healthcare and the 25%
yes.
It's going to be,
yep.
Will I be able to feed my kids? Will I be able to be housed? Right. Gas prices, I noticed, just started going up again. I think it's 20 cents more a gallon now.
Yeah.
And just happened in the last week and a half, I think. Because I looked at the pumps, I'm like, oh my gosh. So I think people are a little bit nervous it's about survival now.
It really is. I've noticed a shift. And a big telltale sign with that shift is you watch retailers and how early they start their Black Friday sales. Mm-hmm. They've started those ultra early now because they know people are nervous. Mm-hmm. They want to give them a lot more time to shop, or before it was, okay, it's Black Friday, let's go shopping like crazy, new iPhones out, let's go nuts. Now I've noticed a big shift in how they approach people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like too, how before it was like they could just assume, oh well, this is the new whatever, it's just going to fly off the shelves. People, like you said, not feeling as secure. It's just sort of like people through the Depression era. They were a little bit more close, keeping it close to their chest, and they were making those big ticket purchases. Once World War II happened and a little bit more prosperity come to America, then you saw like the big nice cars and the track houses and all that, and it seems like you're sort of pedaling backwards a little bit, like you're kind of going through that cycle to where it's back to, well, maybe we should wait, and like you said, I think what you're saying is pretty much spot on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Even the wealthy, I find them nervous as well. They're kind of holding tight a little bit, depending on who it is, of course.
Well, sure. I mean, some of them, are so rich it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Some of them have more money than they know what to do with. But the average person like you, me, and Steve, that is always a worry. Don't get me wrong. Money is always a worry. It's always a stressor. And job, of course, in the current climate, employment is not what it used to be. We don't have the manufacturing jobs to fall back on. That were good paying, that would take care of the family. Now and especially with colleges and universities, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I am college educated, want to be totally, above board on that one. I have a college degree. But today's kids, when they graduate college, are so far in debt, it almost seems like it's a burden even before they're out of the gate that they'll never be able to repay.
Right.
I sure hope, Armand, that we change that way of thinking about education. And I know you got a young son. And I'm sure that's something that you've worried about too, is education costs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we going to see a shift, do you think, in the coming administration, no matter who it is, where we can make better choices for our children?
I have to tell you, I'm hoping for that, but I'm not sure about that, because let me inject this, that I had a young girl, 23 years old, I was talking to today. And you know how people go the route of county college and then they go on to the 4-year school?
Sure.
Well, here's the new trend, that you go for the 2 years of the county college, and then when you go to the 4-year, they will only accept one of the 2 years of credits, and you have to take yet another year at that 4-year university.
Oh, it sure seems like a money grab to me, my friend.
Exactly. Now shift over to what you were saying, because I think the universities are feeling it as well, the private and public ones. And so I'm this is not all of them out there. This is the couple that she had mentioned to me. Is this a trend of all universities? I don't know. Of the ones she had mentioned to me, that's what was happening to her. So going back to your question, I'm not sure, because depending on the universities, if there's a fear level or struggling there may be some problems in trying to kind of reduce or bend or allow kids to go through at a cheaper rate or with incentives. So I don't know if the government will help out or there'll be some level of a program. That would be very helpful for the kids today, because that's our future.
Well, exactly, because it used to be when I was a kid, and I'm sure, Steve, the same way for you, and of course, Armand, you too. When you graduated high school, it was almost a foregone conclusion you're going to go to college. Mom and Dad right there going, you're going to go to college now, and you're going to become something. I don't hear that so much anymore. I hear trade schools. I hear other alternative methods of getting education. I don't hear... on-the-job training, you hear that a lot. I don't hear the universities thrown around anymore.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you from over here at least, and maybe it's just because we're from more of a rural and sort of a economically strapped area. Most kids come right out of school. A lot of young men join the military, or something like that, or they work whatever jobs they can here or a factory, or they move off. There wasn't a whole lot of that. Well, I'm gonna go get a degree in philosophy or go get a degree in this. Like in my family, I'm one of the few that had any sort of college at all. And now my daughters, obviously I don't want to say pushing them into it, but I'm like, well, you need this. I've got two one in college, one starting college, and the other, that's the plan. And I also think it depends on where you come from. So I can't 100% agree with you on that it is overall that way. I know from our end, I think just because we're so adamant about it, coming up with, dealing with the fact that there is so few options here without an education, especially if you do go to a larger metropolitan area, you're definitely going to get lost in the shuffle if you don't have that.
That's very true. That's actually very, very true. I know for me, I wanted to go to university, and my parents didn't pay for my college. I went on scholarships, loans, and worked as a resident assistant. And when I went to NYU, I was lucky and grateful to be on half scholarship, and then for the first year, and then 3/4 for the second year because of my grades. And I worked really hard to get the degree that I have. I just knew it to be very important to get degreed in this world. And I was fortunate, but I think there are so many that live in certain areas and socioeconomics that, or in areas where the colleges aren't nearby, and I feel bad for them because they want to move ahead. Some of them,
yeah. Well, that's just it. They want to move ahead, but a lot of times the economic barriers just stop them. And of course that's a horrible thing. And minimum wage, you can't live on minimum wage. No. I don't care who you are, and I don't care how well you save, you just cannot do it. I just hope things do get better. And I was asked, actually, by a good friend of mine, and he's another radio host. He says, "Hey, you're having Armand on." And I said, "Yeah, we are." And he says, "Hey, ask him." He has a child that is currently serving in the military, and he is worried that there is going to be another war. Do you see another war on the horizon, or do you think we're past that?
I very much see. Okay. I very much see that, and it feels like it's more along the lines of us versus ISIS, and other groups that are spurred off from ISIS too. It almost seems like there's a division that happens even with ISIS in the future, where ISIS goes one way and there's like another offshoot of that. I can see that happening, and not just in one part of the world, but in many parts of the world. I can see that absolutely happening. Absolutely.
I hope, for once, Armand, that you're wrong. For once. I pray that things change. Because, we don't need that, but if that's what does happen, that's when we have to stand stronger as a people together and not let this division get between us. We'll be right back. More Armand Egidi when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Readings next, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the dark, spooky stuff, too. Don't go anywhere.
News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady.
We have to close the deal.
Donald Trump urging voters not to wait in early voting state Florida.
November 8th's fine. Better if you vote now.
That Miami rally, the first of 3 today, as he keeps pledging bold change and attacking Hillary Clinton as corrupt. Trump also keeps hammering away at hacked emails released by WikiLeaks, the latest batch indicating the Clinton campaign was very concerned about the Clinton Foundation. Fox Radio's John Decker live at the White House.
In an email sent by campaign spokesman Brian Fallon to campaign chairman John Podesta in July of last year, he wrote that he was concerned that reporters would scrutinize the 2013 paid speech list for Bill and Hillary Clinton for overlap between speech hosts and foundation donors that could fuel what he called pay-to-play storylines. A memo leaked by WikiLeaks last week showed how Bill Clinton repeatedly scored lucrative speaking engagements and business deals with businesses after they agreed to be Clinton Foundation donors. Lisa?
Thanks, John. President Obama rallies for Hillary Clinton at this hour in North Carolina. Vice President Joe Biden earlier in Florida deriding Trump's middle-of-the-night tweets that slammed former Miss Universe Alicia Machado months ago.
I mean, what kind of mind does... No, I'm serious. I'm being deadly earnest.
This the day after Machado campaigned with Clinton, who's out west today in Vegas and Arizona. Police in Iowa say the suspect in the ambush killing of 2 officers early today later surrendered to a state employee.
Presented his ID to that employee and asked that employee call 911.
Des Moines Police Sergeant Paul Parazek says the motive for the killings remains under investigation, but both the suspects, Scott Michael Green, and the officers were white. He had been thrown out of a high school football game last month by police for waving a Confederate flag in front of minority spectators during the national anthem. Fair and balanced. Iraqi forces holding positions in part of Mosul for now in the fight to retake the city.
Bad weather has held up operations while troops go door to door looking for IEDs and booby traps. The next stage, once Iraqi forces move out again, will likely be house-to-house combat and navigating streets lined with explosives and barriers. One of the greatest concerns, though, ISIS using people as human shields. Iraqi commanders say they have intel showing ISIS militants rounding up thousands of people to be thrown into the line of fire, men, women, and children.
Fox's John Huddy. The Pentagon confirms a U.S. airstrike in Syria last month killed a senior al-Qaeda leader who once had ties to Osama bin Laden and who oversaw the planning of attacks against Western targets outside Syria. A political uproar in South Africa as the president comes under fire from members of his own party.
The outgoing public protector, herself a government employee, is calling in a major report for the National Prosecuting Authority to investigate the South African president, Jacob Zuma, one of his sons, and several government ministers for corruption and so-called state capture. Thousands of opposition demonstrators, many carrying placards stating Zuma must go, clashed with police using stun grenades and water cannon in Pretoria. In a mass move described by one analyst as a tectonic shift, several ruling party ministers who have previously stood by Zuma are joining opposition leaders in calling for the president to step down. In Johannesburg, Paul Tilsley, Fox News.
The Fed leaving interest rates alone, but hinting at a stronger case for a hike at the December meeting.
In today's policy statement, the Fed said that the labor market has continued to strengthen and the growth of economic activity has picked up from the modest pace seen in the first half of this year. Job gains have been solid.
Fox Business Network's Peter Barnes, an hour to the close on Wall Street, the Dow down 47 points. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
And welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me is the sexy and talented...
Oh, yes, Steve Asher.
The man with the golden pipes. And we are talking with Armand Egidi tonight. He is a good friend of the show, and a good friend of ours, of course. And it is the first Wednesday of the month, and that is Armand time. Yeah. Now, we were talking political, of course. We're back, and there's a few emails here, and one of them is... one of them is a personal question. Okay, Armand. I'll ask in a little bit. We got a call coming in. Hello, welcome to After Hours AM. You are live. What is your question for the great and talented Armand Egidi?
I was just wondering where my life is going.
Out the window.
No, don't say that. You never say that.
Oh, sorry.
What's your first name?
My name is Jen.
Jen, okay. Jen, right now, it seems like there is an intersection that you're in right now. It almost feels like you've just went through some traumatic or upheaval situation, and you're in the kind of coasting away from that now with choices and decisions that are in front of you as to which direction you want to go in. Is this true for you? Yeah?
Somewhat.
Yeah. As you move ahead, it's kind of like you have the door to the left, the door to the right, or to stay with what you're doing right in front of you. Ultimately, these choices are really up to you, and you already know the answer of the best way to go as you proceed forward. You already know that. Is this a change up in career or in how you're going to be bringing money into the home?
No, I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at.
Okay, because they show a change happening in that, coming up. Nothing negative or bad, but some choices and decisions that will be coming up, for that, in that regard. There also seems to be people that are, as far as love and affection and warmth, coming closer to you, and some change-ups happening along those lines, too. I don't know if there's somebody new coming into your world pretty soon, but it seems like there's somebody pretty influential that comes into your world that kind of complements where you are and in your future. Do you have somebody new that's coming into your world right now?
No.
Well, it feels like there is.
Not right now.
Yeah, it feels like there is, and it's almost like the next about 3 months or so, 2 or 3 months after the holidays. It feels like that happens. Is there any more specific question that you have about your future?
No, not really.
Wow, all right.
Pretty vague.
You are the queen of vague. Well, thank you for calling, and hopefully that answered a few of your questions that you had in the back of your head.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Thank you for calling.
Very nice.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer, I'm going to assume is the full name. Jennifer, thank you for calling in. Well, the thing with it is, Armand, is the question I have is a personal one, not for me, but my mother. Okay. I'm going to lay it out there for the listening world. All my listeners, all my friends, they know my dad died about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
He passed, and we talked about that. In fact, you called it. The first time I ever met you, I didn't even hardly know you when you brought that up. I'm like, oh my gosh, he nailed it. But she is looking to get into the dating world. And one of her biggest questions that's nagging her is my father okay with this?
Yeah, absolutely okay with that. One of the things that comes really strong through with your dad, I don't know if he was very... structured
Yeah.
as to the way everything
yeah.
was. Everything is. This is what it is, and this is where it's at, and this is what we do, and this is what we don't do.
Yep.
And there was such kind of, in a loving way, he did this. Believe it or not. A foothold, because he wanted everything predictable. He wanted everything to go the way that it was going to go, and that he knew which direction it was going to go in, because he wanted everything to be well.
Yep, he used to tell me he had a plan A, B, C, and D, and sometimes all the way through F.
Right. Because he didn't want any level of failure to happen. What he says is that, first off, there's apologies going out for that, because it was obviously too much. What he says about your mom, first off, is that he loves her very, very much. He said that the moon and the sun, set on her, and all of that, that there's this love, this undying love, and that really that she did complete him in a lot of ways. Not to be corny,
Sure.
but that's what he says, that she completed him.
Well, they were married for 46 years.
Mm-hmm. And he says that it's very important that she continue to love. And that's what the other side is about. That's what heaven is about, about love. And our abilities to exchange love back and forth on the other side, that's what it's about here. And he roots for her to do that here, if that's her will and what she chooses to do. Because at the end of the day, all of it's going to be about love once we reach the other side. That's what it's all about. So there's no negativity for it. Ultimately, he wants her to be happy and enjoy herself. And it does seem like somebody is circling her airport as far as somebody is interested in her.
And that is the question. And see, that's exactly what's going on. You hit the nail on the head. And now she's, should I do it? Should I not do it? What would your father? I was with him for 46 years. I love him. All those questions swirling in her head. And mainly, she's looking for approval. It's like I told her. I says, Mom, he's not here. Okay. You have to do your own approval. If you approve of it, that's all that matters. If you're at peace with it, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I've known that in my own family's situations before. There's that. It's okay. It's like this. The way I see it, anyway. Okay, you're walking around here. You're in about this 6x6 area. You're walking around over here. You have a certain idea of the lay of the land, way things are structured. Okay, and once you pass over, you see over the top of that hedge. You see this whole other part of the story, and go, I can't hold that person in limbo. They're still living. My part is done. We knew this more likely before we even came together, and knew in the future that this would happen. This is all part of the natural progression of her spirit. I mean, that's how I'm taking it.
That's absolutely it.
And I didn't realize, to be honest, I don't mean to give, bearing my soul here. I didn't realize that the grieving process until my dad went was so powerful. For her especially, that back and forth kind of thing. Getting brave and deciding I'm gonna go do this, and then backing away really quick. She will. I guess the question for you is, she will find happiness again. Am I correct?
Oh, absolutely. The one thing that she has a decision to make is if she wants to let I don't want to use the word control, because that may be too big of a word for your dad upon her. But his words, and after that many years, of course, there's going to be, what would he think? I think that's only natural. But she's allowed to do whatever, as a soul, as an energy, what she feels she needs to do. Because with the length of time that she has in front of her, and she has quite a bit of time in front of her, for her not to share love in this world with somebody else, might hurt her. And that's something that she needs to make an ultimate choice on, as to what she is comfortable with. What she is okay.
And that's exactly what I kind of just, it's like I told her. I said, Mom, you don't have to be a psychic to know when you're happy or when you're not happy.
Right. And Steve pointed it out well, too, that your dad's, not that his purpose is done, per se, but their journey went so far on this earthly plane, and it will continue on the heavenly plane. But for right now, there's so much to learn inside of being in love or in a relationship, that it can continue on this earthly plane, if she chooses.
Well, thanks for answering. I know that's something that she knew her to come on the show, and she didn't want to call in. She was too chicken to call in, so I said, I'll just ask for you. Don't worry about it. This is what I do, man. No, but we were talking, being the Halloween just passed, of course, there's lots of shows on television, and I was just had a good friend on the air, Nick Groth. I'm sure you know him, Nick Groth from Paranormal Lockdown. And they went to the Black Monk House. Do you know are you familiar with that house in Great Britain, across the pond?
No, actually not. I'm actually not.
Well, they had a whole special on it, and the family before was the Pritchard family, and they were horribly terrorized by an entity. And one thing that seemed to be still there is the quote-unquote entity. Is there a time frame on these hauntings, or do they ever go away, or they just lie dormant to the next victim? How does that really work?
There's no time frame for it, and it really is about that energy that is there. It's really about their choice and their decision as to whether they want to move forward or not. And from what you're describing, and in some hauntings, not all of them, but some of them like this, when people if it evokes fear in people, and it's relentless, and it keeps on going at them, it's usually an energy that's, I almost want to say, that's enjoying that haunt, that's enjoying the discord. Not every haunting is like that, but in cases like this, where it actually is, hurting people in so many words. That to me is an energy that's just it's just there for the test of time. Enjoying this existence.
Yeah, it kind of made me think. Well, why would there be an expiration date?
Nah,
because it's got nothing but time on its hands. So to speak. Because I'm sure time is irrelevant. I would imagine on that side. Time has nothing to do with it.
No, it seems like we put human constructs on something that's non-physical and something that's eternal. It's you're basically like you're trying to put blinders on a soul and the power of the human continuation of the mind. It just seems like here we're pretty much on training wheels, even though we think we've got it all figured out, which is sort of one of the stumbling blocks of being here. It's sort of a catch-22. It seems like.
I would agree. Not to interrupt, but if you want your own reading with Armand, 612-326-6874, 612-326-6874 is the number. Give us a call. We'd be happy to have you on the air. But until we get a next victim, or caller rather, we're going to continue the discussion. But Armand, there's a lot of famous paranormal things in this country, that like locations, like you have Amityville, you have Waverly Hills, which we touched upon the first half hour. Are these places truly haunted, or are they haunted by the confused rather than the angry?
Well, it depends on. I know, as far as I know, with the Amityville situation, I believe, I don't want to enter into controversy, but that
absolutely.
It was something that was really put on by the family. I thought I had read that or seen that somewhere, although I may be wrong. So.
Well, I'll be controversial for you. Evidently, so you don't have to be. George Lutz made the whole thing up around a bottle of wine with the writer, Jay Hansen, at the time.
There you go.
And that was how that was. We have another caller, by the way. Hello, caller. Welcome to After Hours AM. You got your question ready for Armand?
Yeah. They said that I'm supposed to call in. They're doing mini readings.
Yes, we are doing mini readings. Go ahead, lay it on us.
Oh, what am I supposed to ask?
Do you want love? Do you want money? Do you want to be a radio host?
Am I ever going to get married again?
Well, that piece, and what's your first name again? I'm sorry?
I'm Emily.
Emily, okay. That ended, I'm going to tell you yes. There's a couple of blocks for you, what they're giving me to give to you. Some of the blocks that are there is within inside of your own self. They're talking about how your ability to trust others comes into play. And so when you're out there in the community, or you're out there in and around people, sometimes you kind of hold your own self back. They show that people are around you and they try to present people around you, but sometimes you're looking down and not looking up, they're saying. You're not engaging with that. I don't know if there's something also with your self-esteem and what you think about your own self, but they talk about sometimes the undoing, like somebody will give you a compliment and you'll undo that. And they're saying that these are the items that will help you when you do finally meet up with the person that you'll entertain in being in a possible relationship with. Do some of those pieces hold true for you?
Yeah, you just nailed me down to a T. Yes. I cannot take compliments. People tell me I'm beautiful, and I'm like, oh, whatever, you're crazy. You know, I've never been that way, and maybe I'm just not opening my eyes.
You need more confidence in yourself too. I can read that off you just talking with you. You know what I mean? You just when you say that, I don't do compliments well. You should be happy with who you are.
I need to be because I am a good person. I know that, but yeah, he just nailed me straight down. My jaw dropped.
He's one of the best.
I tell you.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I know before we've had him on a time or two, and we had talked about a few things on Joel's side and on my side, the Asher side as well, and it was just like, there's no way this guy can know this. There's no way, because I'm thinking, even if you Google this and that, because sometimes it's like, there's a guy, and he's older guy, and was it your dad, or was it this? Did you ever have a mother and father? How did you know he had a mother and father? It wasn't that. He wasn't setting it up.
Well, Armand, do you have any parting words for Emily?
I do. There's a couple of things that I'm getting for you to remember, and it's this. Well, first off, you've been in a series of relationships where you've been with takers. And it's really important that you understand that either somebody is filling your glass or they're drinking from it. Always remember that it's important to meet up with and maintain with somebody that you like that is a giver. Somebody that is giving to you and that you can give to them, and that there's a bi-directionalness to the relationship. Because they talk about all the repair work you had done with other people all along, and that didn't really get you anywhere, really, in doing that. So that's one of the big pieces that I want to leave you with, and not to settle for crumbs when you'd rather a piece of cake. That's really, really important.
Great words.
Well, thank you so much. And, I'm going to leave you with, I know what I bring to the table, and I'm not afraid to eat alone.
All right. Well said, Emily. Thank you so much for calling, and make sure you go join the group over there on Facebook. And you
sure.
can
All right,
interact
y'all have a great
with us.
night.
You too. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Very, very true. We all make I guess it kind of harkens back to what you're saying about my own situation, my mother. We kind of make our own happiness as we go, too. We have to evaluate our own values, how much we're worth.
The other piece is to not judge our insides by other people's outsides. Because very often there was a lady I met with today, a beautiful lady, I might add, and this happens not just with her, but with so many other people that doesn't think that she's good looking, doesn't think that she's a beautiful lady inside and out. She's really a good soul, a good energy. But I think sometimes we're brainwashed into thinking that we're not good people from what we grow up with, or there's abandonment that happens in our world from parents or caregivers, and we don't learn how to praise and love our own self.
Wow, very true. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot, Armand.
Well, it seems we carry all the baggage a lot of times, and it's not even our own baggage. A lot of times you carry, just as in childhood, you carry mom and dad's issues and prejudices and shortcomings, and then whoever you first get with and first time in relationships. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's short-lived because you don't know each other, and maybe they're abusive or whatever, and then you've got to carry that because you don't maybe at that young age know that you aren't what they're trying to impose on you.
Very, very true. Now, the line to call in again is 612-326-6874, 612-326-6874, if you'd like to talk to medium Armand Egidi tonight with us. But now, people that don't call or want more explanation or just want to talk to you longer, how can they book a full reading with you?
Well, the best way to do it is to go online to theknowing.online. the knowing.online. There, if you go to Request Armand, you get on that page and you'll have a whole slew of different choices: 1 hour reading, 30-minute reading, Skype reading, FaceTime reading, in-person reading, or I can, travel to the person. And you can book it online right there. It shows my availability. And I have grayed out when I'm traveling, so you don't need to worry, like, will he be there if he's traveling? Whenever I'm available, I'll be in that spot. And when I am traveling, and usually I post this on my Facebook page, let's say that I'm in the Central Time Zone, I'm in Houston, I'll make an announcement on the Facebook page, Armand Egidi. You can go to that page, and if somebody wants an appointment in Houston, while I'm there, they go to the time zone all the way on the far right. It'll show the days I'm available in Houston, and then you can book an appointment while I'm in Houston, let's say.
Very cool. So kind of get you while you're there, because you try to line up as a few of them in a row, I would imagine. So I mean, that's the most effective. Now, do you find live person to person the best reading? I mean, that's the where you're looking them dead in the eye. Do you find that to be the most rewarding?
I'm going to say I like that the most, but I have plenty of Skype and FaceTime readings that are equally just as powerful as the face-to-face. Sure.
We have another caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to After Hours AM. Would you like a reading from Armand?
Yes, please.
Sure, Armand. Go ahead. Go ahead, you guys. I'll leave you guys alone. You guys just go ahead and talk.
Oh, yeah, and I can start talking for like an hour. So
I know. Don't worry. I'll cut you off when it's time.
Can I have your first name, please?
Yes, Michael.
Michael, do you have somebody that you're wanting to hear from that has passed? Yeah.
I would love to, yeah.
Right, because what I'm pulling in behind you, I have coming from your right shoulder, my left-hand side, I've got a male coming in. Did your father pass?
Yes.
Okay. He comes in and he puts both hands on either of your shoulders and kind of wraps his arms around you. Were you guys separated in life, or was there division in your worlds in this life?
Well, at one time, sort of, yeah, and then we were apart when he passed. So
because what he's saying is, I'm here with you now. He's putting his fingers, one finger overlapping the other one, and shows how close he is to you. And that he's guiding you through, I guess you're going through some troubled times or some questions about life and yourself at this time. And he says, I'm here with you. And he just wants you to know that he's here with you. He says you're his soldier, and that you were really a son that really helped out a great deal. Is that true for you? Yeah?
Yeah, as much as I could, yes.
Yep. And he says that. Coming on my right, your left, is your mom passed? Did your mom pass? Come on in.
No, she's still living.
How is she doing physiologically? Because often when somebody is coming through and they have not yet passed, very often there are some issues or trouble that they're having. Is she going through something right now?
Oh, yeah, we're definitely in some financial troubles.
Yep. He's talking about how much he's trying to help, and he's raising his hand that he's kind of part of this in a way. Did he have a mess going on before passing? Was there all the I's weren't dotted and the T's weren't crossed?
Well, I don't know. It's possible, of course.
Because he's saying that ultimately didn't help out. He's trying to help out your mom a great deal and trying to keep her spirits up. But it almost seems like there's also a physiological angst that's going on with her now. There's some issues that she's going through. And she's the type to be in the what-if wheel. What if this and what if that, and the worry that she goes through. Go ahead.
I was going to say she's got a knee that's messed up right now physically, so physically that's maybe what you're kind of picking up on.
They're trying to give her strength, and she has some choices and decisions to make at this point as to the different directions that she can go in. Were you guys misled by somebody that was trying to help the situation out and kind of took you for a little bit of a ride, and you've pulled it back now?
No, nothing like that's happened, but not that I know of anyway.
Be careful of that. They're talking that it either has happened or it could happen. So keep a guard up on that. That when you go for the help from people, that you you keep it close to your logictivity of what's happening and what makes sense.
Okay.
What other questions do you have for your dad or for your guardian angels and your guides? What other questions do you have?
Whoa, just
that's a loaded one, Armand.
Yeah.
We could be here all night.
There's a lot of places I could go with that one, that's for sure. The main thing is direction, I guess. I'm not sure which way I need to be going, really. That's the biggest issue I've got facing me at the moment.
You know, it's sort of like in your decision making, that if you go in one direction, you're helping out yourself. If you go in another direction, it begins to leave others kind of vacant with you. It's like you're not as much present. And they're saying that you already know the right thing to do. You already know what, in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, is the thing that will be the best direction for you to go in. You already are aware of that. But it may, in fact, be the most difficult direction to go in for you. But you already are aware of what will make the most sense.
Okay.
You already know. It's almost like you've already made that choice and that decision to go in that direction, for that to come to fruition, that's the direction to go in. And you have a brother as well that's helping you with all of this?
No, I only have a half-sister.
Okay, because they're showing another male around you that's kind of brother-like or friend-like to you that you've been leaning on a little bit with this, right?
No, not really. I mean, I haven't. Well, Steve, I guess, he's a friend of mine, and he's been off and on talking to me about different stuff. So that'd be the only one I can think of, really.
Well,
but he's living in,
There's kind of that brother-like feel and that guidance that's there, because sometimes, all of us can lean in one direction when we're emotional about things. So sometimes the voice of reason comes through and helps guide us through. There is purely and utterly this choice and decision you have that is of your own volition, free will. It's almost like the other side can't select which direction for you to go in, because this is really the domino effect that happens after this is ultimately your domino effect.
Well, I hate to break it up, guys. We're up against a hard break. Michael, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And of course, you can talk to Armand. He has a great website. We're gonna go to break here in just a minute. And again, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for all the calls. We are absolutely being flooded. We'll be right back right after this.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If you can hear me, then you have an internet connection, which means you can do cool things online, like listen to streaming radio, obviously, or watch a video of a monkey washing a cat. Let your freak flag fly. Or you can book a room at a great price at Motel6.com. Isn't the internet wonderful? Everything you want right at your fingertips, and whoa, did not need to see that. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Anavar Media LCC is a dedicated team of professionals committed to helping business development scale and protect their websites, mobile applications, enterprise software solutions in the Northeast Ohio area. Locally owned since 2012, our client-centered values truly sets Anavar apart. Contact us today to learn how you can get 25% off your first project. Call them at 234-380-4852. Again, that's 234-380-4852, or visit them at www.anavar.com. Again, that's www.anavar.com.
Hi, I'm Kip Parker. And I'm Charlie Parker. And we're the Parker Brothers. Hey, Charlie, what's missing from our game catalog? I don't know, Kip. Tell me. Well, you can't talk to the dead. You sure as hell can. That's why we got this brand new game called Ouija.
Ouija? What? Break that down for me.
Well, it's Wii because you're having a great time, and G, it's because G, aren't you having a blast because you're having a good time with the Wii?
It looks like it smelled like a Chinaman got caught in there.
Don't question it.
Well, Ouija, Kip, tell me about it.
Well, inside the package comes a flat board with all the letters of the alphabet, numbers from 0 to 9, and a yes-no written out by itself.
Well, that sounds like a lot of stuff going on.
It's got a lot of stuff going on indeed, Charlie. It also comes with this planchette, which hovers over the letters the dead are trying to tell you.
Well, how does that work, Chip?
Well, you ask the question, and then the dead move your hands in the direction of the answers.
That sounds like a heck of a way to find Grandpa's slave money.
Turns out it was in the attic. But the questions don't have to be as serious as slavery. You can also find out if Sally's got a crush on you. The dead like to answer all sorts of trivial questions.
Feels like they'd have better things to do with their time, Kip.
No, lost souls are lost forever, and they're really glad to help.
Well, gee, Kip, can't you just get any sort of board with numbers and letters and talk to the dead?
The dead prefer quality like anybody else. Quality you can only find at Parker & Parker.
The Ouija board, brought to you by the Parker Brothers, available in both white and colored wallwords. Separate but equal savings.
You're listening to After Hours AM, the best in alternative talk radio. If you got a question for our guest tonight, email that to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Feeling social? Join the After Hours AM, America's Most Haunted group on Facebook. The coolest Facebook group anywhere. And welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, and right with me is the beautiful and talented and now totally awesome...
Hello, Stevie Asher.
Steve, man. Okay, we have another caller on the line for Armand. Who is on the line?
Hi, my name is Chris.
All right, you have a question for Armand.
I'm just wondering if there's anybody that's trying to come through to me. I've been having a lot of dreams lately.
I have a female that comes behind you, Chris. It's a female feel, either that or a very emotional male, but it feels like a female feel. Was this a caretaker of yours that was coming through, either a mom or a grandmother like to you, or a mom like figure that has passed that feels like it's coming to you?
It's possible. I've had several very close people pass in the last couple of years.
Okay. This feels like a mothering or like a mom-like or a female-like figure that comes through. I'm feeling it in my chest in here, and I'm feeling the oxygen level is down. Did your mom have trouble with respiratory or with her heart when she was passing?
Actually, it was one of my close friends.
Okay.
Yes.
And was she like kind of like a fellow mom with you, to you, around you, kind of like a peer-like to you?
Yes.
Okay. Is she the, I don't know how old you are, so I don't know if you'll get this, the Kool-Aid mom, where everyone was at her house?
Oh, yeah! I'm sorry.
Yes.
That you
yes,
went to?
Was.
Okay. Because she comes clearly through. Her husband remains, correct?
Yes.
Okay. She is sending all her love to him. She wants you to let him know that she is okay and that she made it. I believe, and it feels like, were you on her right-hand side when she was passing or prior to passing? Were you on her right-hand side?
No.
Okay. Because she shows on her right-hand side, there's a female on her right-hand side when she was passing. And she's just saying that it was of great comfort to her. So I'm not sure who that was, if it was a sister or a sister-in-law or somewhat, but sitting right there. So I see a female image she's bringing up. And she's thanking everyone for coming to her and talking with her before she passed. Did you give her permission to go?
No, she actually was possibly murdered.
Okay, because there's an energy that's by her right-hand side that's giving her permission to go. It's almost like if it was a murder or if it wasn't a murder, this is a female energy that's to her right-hand side that's got her by the hand and bringing her home, if you will. This feels like a very kind of nurturing energy that's by her, and it gives her permission to exit And this is what it feels like to me. Is her mom passed as well?
No.
Okay. Because this is an energy that's mom-like to her, and it could very well be her grandmom of sorts. But she wants to let him know that she has made it and that she's okay, that she's there. She's made it and that she's okay. It seems like there's 2 involved in and around her death, and she's holding up 2, like a peace sign, and showing that to me. That there are 2, and she's showing that to me again.
Not to interrupt, but was it ever solved?
No, and her 2 children were with her when she passed.
Okay, because she's doing the 2. She's holding up the 2 in and around her. And she's saying, please hug my babies. She said, I miss them very much. One of them feels like they can see her or senses her. And if in your bed, when you're laying in bed, to your right-hand side, do you have a window that's there to the right of you when you're sleeping?
Yes.
Okay, this is where she and you don't have much room between the bed and the window, right?
Correct.
Okay, she comes in right there. And do you have sheer curtains on your window?
Yes.
Okay, because
we're in our bedroom and everything. Wow, we just met and all.
Yeah, this is a level of clairvoyancy where I can be and feel myself in the room.
My gosh, it's amazing, Armand. I mean, no, seriously, I don't mean to stop you, but that's just amazing.
And it's so hard to stop myself once I'm on this roll because it's like a wheel that starts turning faster and faster and faster because as it all starts plugging in, I can then then she can talk to her. It just accelerates, you know?
That just blew my mind there for a second. Sorry about that because really you were spot on and I was listening to you talk and...
I have to ask her, do
ahead.
you keep your window open, even a crack while you're sleeping?
No.
Okay, because she's just showing that as being an opening then. And I see the curtains blowing a little bit, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Wow, I was just going to say that's very, very amazing. do you have any more questions for him, ma'am?
Does she want us to just let things go, or does she want us to keep searching for answers?
You know, here's the thing. She's pursing her lips, and she's kind of like wincing, you know, kind of looking at it and scrunching her eyes a little bit. Here's the whole purpose of this, and this is what's coming through from her. She's saying, you know, it's really up to all of you who are still there. I'm okay, she's saying, where I'm at. I wish I can be with everyone, but I'm safe, secure, and ensconced in God's love. Was she religious or spiritual in nature?
No.
Okay, because she's talking about how enveloped she is with God's love right now. And she's saying, I'm okay. If it's going to finish the piece of music for all of you to do that, and you feel that you need to do that, then by all means. She says, I already know what's happened to me, what went on and all that, but it's up to you guys to find out if you want to. And if you don't, that's okay. It does feel like there's some dirty behavior in here, let's say, with her death, because I see a little bit of darkness around it. They're not illuminating, except I do feel like I'm choking. I feel like I don't have any air, and I feel like it's choked off, like I just have a little bit of air in me. I also feel a little bit nauseous when it comes to her as well, inside, like stomach-wise. I don't feel very good. So this is up to you guys, whether you do it or not. It's not going to change. She's saying it's not going to change the outcome, but this is where that's at. Does her grandfather pass or her dad pass? Because I've got a father-like image coming in behind her.
No, but like I said, I've had a lot of deaths in the last couple of years.
Yeah, you have a handful of them for sure. You know, if you ever want like a full reading and even more, Skype me, FaceTime. I'm not sure where you're located in the country or in the world, but you are welcome to do that. I would love to read you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for the call. And of course, you can always go to Armand's website, of course, mediumarmand.com, or you can go to the Knowing Center.
Well, the knowing?
The knowing. There it is. Sorry about that, Armand. You had me rattled. And thanks again, caller, for calling in, by the way. You really had me rattled with the way you were able to read her room that way.
Yeah, I was just sitting back watching. It's like, okay, where's he going with this?
Well, no, just the detail.
But so spot on. You
know?
You know what happens is that once because I'm still in her room right now, And I have to say, even though she doesn't sleep with the window open, I can see that the window is open a crack, and I can see what happens is that it makes further and more of an indelible contact with the energy that's talking to me. Mm-hmm. It almost raises it to the next level of knowing, if you will, this next level of getting it and feeling this connection with them. Almost like a Lego piece that was in place, but now I pushed it tighter, and now I got it. And that's what like that clairvoyancy seems to do. It helps me to really build this relationship with the energy coming through, so that we can give the person that I'm reading, that they're coming through for, more information. It's almost the prelude to the acceleration that's happening. And that's why it's good, Joel, that you kind of chop me off a little bit, because literally I read like this for an hour.
I've never heard you go into such detail about an environment, and that really took me aback. And we've interviewed you, and we've talked a lot, and every time, like I said, you never disappoint. You always hit me with something new, and it really quite is very astonishing at times. Now, Armand, when we are all crossing over and we are passing away, and it's our last moments here on this plane, who comes to us, or is it very personalized, or is there a grim reaper or an angel or what have you that comes to guide us?
There's usually I call it a transitional energy that comes, and that transitional energy is somebody that we are familiar with, or that we contracted with them, so to speak, before they passed to come and take us. But it's usually that familiarness that's coming through for that person, to help them to transition to the other dimension, to help them to to transfer over to heaven, if you will. Yeah. And it's always like that. Sometimes it's a couple of people. Usually it's one or two or one. And it could be a guardian angel of sorts that brings them through. Yeah. But there is no doubt whatsoever that the person is ensconced in this love that's there, because there is a peacefulness that falls over the person that helps them to transition. Almost like, this sounds terrible to say, but like a dog whistle, that the dog knows to come to that whistle. That love is kind of like heaven's dog whistle, if you will, that kind of pulls us toward heaven. And it's a familiarness, and we almost like just roll toward that because it's familiar. It's a familiar.
Very interesting. Now I got to ask you, do I have a spirit guide? And is he shaking his head? And hopefully it's James Dean.
You absolutely do. You have a number of spirit guides. You have a number of guardian angels. Remember that the guides are more of the blueprints of what you wanted to accomplish in this life. So you have a handful of them that are trying to fulfill the prime directive for you.
See, I always envision my spirit guide being a beer drinker going, how did I ever pull this bad job? And shaking his head. Like, oh, no.
Armand, let me ask you something real quick before I forget it, because I will. And as a spirit guide, for some reason I have a feeling mine was the Sergeant Schultz guy from Hogan Heroes. Because it's like, what can you tell me? I know nothing.
That's mine. He just shakes his head going, God, this guy needs help, man. More than I can give him,
But something serious, serious question real quick. I've noticed, especially like the last caller, do you ever get in such a deep spot and so ensconced in it? Do you have something that you use as sort of a grounding tool or something to where, and can you kind of cut it off? Can you sort of shut it down for the night? Or because I wouldn't see how you'd ever get any rest.
Here's a couple of things. Yes, I sometimes get so deep in it that and it never goes over the hour, it's always like very perfect and very needed, that when I begin to come out of it, to talk to the person, it's almost like waking up out of a dead sleep, no pun intended, and trying to surface again. It's like I'm having trouble waking up and coming out of the depth of where I was, because I don't feel like I'm there. I feel like I'm somewhere else. The other thing that helps me in a reading is humor, that especially when I do group readings, that respectfully so, I'll create some sort of joke or something funny, and that funny is enough to transfer me out of that zone with that person so that I can go in with the next.
Yeah, you need that. walk away moment. To
Can I tell you something amazing that happened? Well, two
Sure,
things. Just
absolutely.
recent readings. I was blown away by this. So I had, believe it or not, I read on Saturday, this past Saturday, 20 people. Now,
wow, man.
It was 2 people in the morning in a couple session. Then I went to a gathering of 7 people, reading them half hour at a time. And then I was called in the middle of the day to go to this lady's house. She said her medium couldn't make it, and she wanted to know if I could substitute. And it was 10 people with 15-minute readings. So I said, sure. And long and short of it is I sat in front of this one girl. It was a party going on, a Halloween party. And the girl came into the room. I'm not sure of her age. I think she was 18, 19. And I started reading her, and I said, look, there's somebody. And I said, I can't breathe. Somebody that had committed suicide, or I feel a spinning sensation. I was going through the whole thing with her. And I said, there's a best friend. And she said, don't move. She grabbed and got her sister. Her sister came in and sat down, and she goes, tell her what you just told me. And I did. And apparently it was a friend that had just committed suicide, that she was pregnant. But it gets even more than this, because I guess in this, they had recounted for me, because I don't remember all of my readings, but that I had said to her that there was a brother-like for this guy who had passed that's very close to him that is troubled. And they went and called him. Do you know that he was about to, they told me, run out into traffic and kill his own self? And that saved his life that night.
Wow, man.
This translated to me.
Wow, that's heavy. That's heavy.
It really, really is. And it's not so much I saved his life, but the very fact that I was called to there, and that I read that girl, like it all happened in that way, because I really believe that the other side needed that to happen, obviously.
Yeah.
And earlier that day, there was a girl that came to me. She drove 2.5 hours south from New York State, and I was telling her, I said, and we found that it's her grandfather that had passed, and I said, he's buttoning up a white shirt. He keeps on showing me this white shirt. Well, she reaches into her bag and pulls out a white shirt that's in a Ziploc bag, that apparently this is all he ever wore, was this white shirt. And I just thought that was amazing.
That is nuts. And I mean, that's I would be blown away too. I mean, that would have been one of those whoa moments. And we've talked so much, and we've interviewed you, and you've had your dark times. So does your dark times help you relate to people that are going through their dark times?
Always, 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 always. I am grateful for the dark times that I went through, because it really, and I say to the other caller, it really gives me this opportunity to use my teachings, what I've learned through my own experiences, to help a person.
And this will be the last read of the night, so thank you, caller, for getting in under the wire. Can I ask who this is?
It's Mike Fleck from Pittsburgh.
Hey, how you doing, my friend? Mikey, what's going on, my friend? You got a question for Mr. Armand?
Trying to get here to see what the future brings for me, man, because the president hasn't been treating me too nice.
It certainly isn't. I can hear the waterfalls, and when I hear the waterfalls, that's usually like something's about to crash, something's about to happen, and you can hear the waterfalls getting louder and louder, and you're wanting to stop it and to leap out of the way before you go over the waterfalls. What is this something that's about to happen?
Well, I had a toilet back up and backed into my kitchen, so they're ripping out my bathroom right now, and they ripped out the ceiling of my kitchen. So that's about as much water she could possibly think about.
Well, there's the waterfalls, because they're talking about staying in the solution of things, and I know they're in the solution trying to get that repaired, but there's the worry of what's going to happen with all of that, and also the financial worry. That's a huge, one of the biggest pieces for you is the financial in your world. And they're telling you overall, besides what's happening in the kitchen to you, or the backup of the water, they're telling you to stay in the solution of things, because sometimes you go to bed and you can't sleep. You wake up an hour or two later, you keep waking up, and your brain is still going, but it's very important for you to stay in the solution and not in the worry of things, but to stay in what do I do about it. because you tend to worry and what if it. Is that what's happening for you? Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, it's just been a real bad, water toilet, week for me. It's just
yeah. But this too shall pass. I mean, we say this in a program that I'm in. That this too. It sounds like you're familiar with that too. That this too shall pass, and it will. It will.
It has to pass. Always light. There's always light coming right around the darkness.
Yeah, I always say that it's a molasses road right now, but there's pavement on the other side of this molasses. And it's like a comedy of failures that's happening. But at the end of the day, there's a beginning, middle, and end to every problem, every issue. There's a beginning, middle, and end. And this too will pass. It absolutely will.
Very good. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike, for calling in.
Welcome.
Take care, Mike.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, brother.
Yep.
Sir.
Well, we only got about 5 minutes left, so no more readings. The gates are closed. We cannot do any more until next time Armand's on. But before we leave, Armand, tell everyone how they can get a full reading with you and how they can contact you, all that kind of good stuff.
The best way to get a reading is to go to my website, which is it's theknowing.online. theknowing.online. You can also go to Medium Armand, and that's AND at the end, .com. And either direction, I mean, the knowing is probably the best way. It all will lead you to the same spot. Click on Request Armand, and then you can pick what you want. And remember, for everyone out there, that I do FaceTime, I do Skype, I do in person if if I'm in your area, or some people actually fly me to their location. I'll be doing that going down to Florida. Somebody's flying me down to their location.
Wow.
So yeah, I do that, and but Skyping and FaceTime is just fine. And if somebody wants to come to my New Jersey office, that's absolutely fine too. People travel to come and see me as well.
You must get exhausted doing readings. I mean, do you crash and sleep for 12 hours?
No, honestly, it's not a physical. It doesn't feel physical at all. I'll tell you that the night after the 20 readings that I did, and they weren't all hour-long readings in a day as I described before, but I'll tell you at the end of that, I was I was exhausted. I have to tell you, I parked myself on the couch the next day, and reading 20 people in a day is not usually what I do. I mean, at most, maybe there's 10 or 12 in a day, and I'm fine with that. But that many, yes. That took a little bit of a toll.
But once you've read somebody and you kind of dived into their life and you made contact with their loved ones or what have you, do you ever have a problem with the loved ones wanting to follow you around for a while?
Never. No, not ever. What I feel for them just after the reading is a gratitude that comes from the energies that I was there to bring the messages through to their loved ones.
See, I thought there'd be a holy crap, he can see me moment. I'm going to hang around him for a while.
I can do that if I want to, if I wanted to, because I'm in control of that. And I teach a class in this too, how people, it's called the Knowing group, and that's on Thursdays in my office. And I teach people how to turn it on, shut it off, how to be in executive control over it. The times that it kind of the curtain dropped for me was twice. Mm-hmm. When I was in Washington, D.C., it wasn't in my control, where I felt like I was being watched. Okay. I felt, very...
Well, that's because you were. Look, all the cameras there. Come on. They're everywhere.
I didn't even think of that.
They're everywhere. But, yeah, I mean... It would weird me out, though, to some extent, because I don't have the power, the knowledge that you do of the boundaries, for the normal person that has a brush with the psychic ability or the ghosts or this. It seems to stay with somebody.
It seems very overwhelming. And
it's like that there's a learning curve to be had there.
There is, but let me give you a fast way for the people listening out there. If they're bothered by energies, and if they feel like they're bugging them, the best thing to do is to never be afraid of these energies, because once you put that fear out there, then some of these energies feed off of that and will increase and will stay and will not go away. So really a lot of the homes that I go to that I clear, because I do clear homes of energies, very often I have to sit down with the family and go, okay, here's what you're going to do, and this is what you're not going to do.
Exactly.
Because you're increasing the intensity of this. And twice I've had to go back to a house and re-talk to the family because they're bringing the energy back in again. And I'm like, if you want the energy to go, you can't do this because you're bringing it back in again.
Well, we only got 1 minute left, so I would just want to tell everyone, you know what? Armand, thank you so much for coming on the show again.
Yeah, no problem.
Armand Egidi, everybody. And I want everyone to go over to the knowing.online. Check it out. Get your own reading. On behalf of myself, Joel Sturgis, of course, Mr. Steve Asher, which I really enjoy doing the show with you, Steve. Thanks again for coming aboard.
Anytime,
this has been another great episode of After Hours AM. Take care of each other. Love each other. Until next time, stay cool.